Hey, we're back with some more world building, and just like last time, I'm here with Briar, and they're going to be helping me
Biz.
out with some more city creation. Is the plan that I have, and they also have a concept for a new horde dragon, which we kind of workshop together. But that's kind of the basis of what I'm going to latch onto this episode for what we're going to be building in terms of the next city. It's going to revolve around that dragon, just like the previous or the first city revolved around that first dragon that we created. His name is like Alderic, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And that's basically going to be this episode. So, sit back, enjoy, alt tab while you're doing something else. Exact same situation as the previous episode. The visuals on screen are just going to be our Discord PNGs talking. Hope you enjoy that little seal creature standing next to the Untold Realms logo.
Orf orbital strike.
We've we just came from seeing gameplay of what was it Helldivers 2. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's on the brain right now, stimulating the
Maybe
neurons.
for you, I got nothing on this brain cell.
Oof. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm not grabbing my desktop with OBS. Yeah, it's just doing the screen. All right. So last time we were looking at, let me just quickly refresh my memory on what the city got named. Pleodorus, the guiding city, ruled by the Grand Dragon Alderic. And it's a city that was founded atop this mountain, which was mainly inspired by this. I don't want to call it famous because it's not really famous, but I heard about it on Mini Minuteman, so I'm kind of a fake fan of it anyway because I had to have some very popular archaeologist slash geologist slash whatever else he is tell me about it instead of just learning about it myself. But it was a mountain that was extremely important to the indigenous people of America, and it had a trade network going from like northern Maine all the way down to almost Florida. So the tools that were made with the material in that mountain were like extremely useful and well traded. So that was the inspiration behind that whole city, and it's ruled over by like a dragon who's basically their mayor. And so far, we just kind of have like the groundwork for stuff could go on, but we're still in the early stages of world building, making like a few important cities where people are going to be living. And I think once we have like three cities, we'll start establishing like, okay, now what's like the big problems going on in this? Because anytime that I'm running a campaign, it usually shouldn't go too far beyond the scope of like one, maybe two important cities, or at least I should say two important large areas. If you take Rise of Estia, for example, the city of Vestia, Silinoris, and the area like right outside of it, kind of just two major areas. And then like as the campaign got longer, it's like okay, we start using another city as the main stage of another problem. And at the level our characters are going to be at for this upcoming campaign, yeah, it's going to be the scale of like a city kind of campaign, not another one that's like traveling between dimensions.
But hear me out. What if we went to 3 dimensions this time instead of just two?
Oh my god.
You want to make a whole nother reality makeshift?
No, thank you. Still building this first one. Anyway, so just like before, my style of making things is kind of just like I like to find like world building art. It's like that previous one was like the 50th anniversary art for like D&D with the big platinum dragon and the stage in a coliseum. This time I just searched around for like aquatic themed art because spoiler alerts, the next dragon that we were creating is well, not really spoiler alerts, we're talking about it in this episode. The next one is going to
Come on.
be an aquatically themed dragon, and it's one that wants to hoard bards and artists. Like, so the reason we went with an aquatic theme is because I kept on going back to the idea of using a squid or an octopus because their appearance can change. And we kind of thought about like, should we do like a Bowery bird or like a bird of paradise? But we already have a bird with Aldestrel. If I'm getting his name right, I should probably write it down.
Yes, you were. Aldestrel's the owl bird. Alderic is the guiding city, the big boy, the mayor.
Yeah, thank you. But then, because me and Briar have been playing a lot of Monster Hunter World recently, I showed
Hehe.
them the concept art for the Water Elder Dragon in that, and then it was just like, yeah, we're using that. That looks awesome. And that dragon's name, if you want to like reference it, or you might know exactly what I'm talking about already, is crap. What is his name? I didn't write it down.
Namiel.
Namiel. Yes, thank you.
Namiel.
Namiel. Namiel. Yeah, I don't know if they actually they probably say it in the game. I'm just not remembering, but very cool looking dragon. He looks like a vampire squid from like the deep ocean. Yeah, just a beautiful design on this elder dragon.
You got bioluminescence.
Yeah. So that's going to be the visual inspiration for the mayor of
Oh,
this city.
dang.
Yeah.
That armor kind of fly, though.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like Splatoon's armor. Also, do yourself a favor, viewers. If you haven't seen the Monster Hunter armor sets, you can give them a quick Google. It's pretty cool. There's some fire
They
armor
provide
in
good
that.
inspiration.
Hmm.
They provide good inspiration.
Oh yeah. And above that, so like I have three art pieces if you count the image of Namil. Above that is like another art piece, which looks to be these kind of, I guess, mildly East Asian style temples sticking up out of a flooded wetland with a pretty
I'd
large.
probably go more Southern Asian,
Yeah, now that you say that,
like
that's.
more Thai or oh God, what's the other country? It's not Thailand, Vietnam,
Yeah.
almost.
It's
Vietnam
this.
isn't southern though. I don't know. I don't know geography. I failed it.
No, Vietnam's southern. It juts out downward towards Australia. I'd call that southern.
Ah,
Well, southeast. Asia's a big continent.
Southeast Asian. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But it's got these large, sort of marble looking structures, or at the very least, stone looking structures, which seem to be weathering at the test of time. And the areas surrounding them are lots of wetland and lots of thriving greenery, as well as you can also see these images of what look to be these well lit structures poking downward out of the base, out of like a tree canopy. And the other image that I have here is, oh, and like the size of those structures is, I'd say they're about like, I want to
They're
use,
temple size. They're pretty big.
yeah, I want to use like meters, but it's hard for me to think with my freedom brain going on. Uh, you could you could
Ish
jog
Americans.
you could jog a lap around these things in like 2.5 minutes if they were on
You
like
ever been
solid
to
ground.
the you ever been to the Parthenon in Nashville? It's kind of like that, but a little bigger.
Yeah.
Like the size of an actual temple and not a roadside attraction.
This this just reminded me of one of the funniest measuring devices I've ever heard of. This is a little
Please
tangent.
don't say it's the goddamn football fields.
No, no, no. That is a funny measuring device, but it was some court hearing about something with some politician that I cannot remember at this time. I just remember I saw it on one of those like talk shows, like the YouTube talk shows or whatever. And they made a funny joke about how he gave such a strange measurement of something where he was like, this like, oh yeah, there was a baby in the crib. It was no bigger than my like dachshund greyhound or something. Some very specific type of dog that I cannot recall. And I just remember, and like the show made a joke about it, like, why'd you give a reference to the size of a baby? Everyone knows how big a human baby is. Nobody knows how big that type of dog is. And it's like, yeah, that's low key me trying to explain things. I'm like, this human babies, they're kind of like the size of this type of dog you've never heard of. Like, yeah, you could jog around this building in like, I don't know, 2.5 minutes. You could listen to like two songs. Or like one song.
That's actually really helpful for me though.
Yeah, if you like threw in
It's
your
like, oh, I
earbuds,
can get there in like 4 songs.
yeah. Yeah, car rides though, I do measure in I measure in songs. So, oh yeah, and the second image that I have is this city that kind of reminds me, or this little like snapshot of what looks to be a town square in a semi underwater, kind of like Atlantis. If there was like a big air bubble, you could like breathe the water and see really easily. I'm not sure how else to
Yeah, it
describe
looks kind of
this.
Greco-Roman almost.
If you want to look up the artist name, his name is I'm pretty sure it's Josh Durham. Is when I like Googled it and checked it out. He has a lot of art like this, and this one's from like 2018 or something. But I looked at this and I was like, oh, that's cool. It kind of looks like the fish are swimming around in the air, and all the structures are circular because it kind of looks like they're designed to withstand water pressure from any angles or like flowing water movements without collapsing. Uh, so I also thought that was cool, and I thought that could probably be like a capital or like a main city area to this image above it, which looks more like a rural, maybe farming area if the buildings weren't as plentiful. You just had like a few here and there. So this area above it, I'm thinking looks like a place where a lot of farming is done. And I even thought to myself,
Hmm.
what if the temples weren't there originally? Or no, what if the water wasn't there originally, but the temples have been here so long that their original creators just kind of aren't there anymore, and the new inhabitants kind of pulled a hermit crab situation when the flooding occurred, and we're like, this is a great place to like set up camp and then farm crops out of the water.
Well, I had an idea for like the main city where where the Bard Dragon kind of like resides and like all the artist stuff is. I had an idea that it maybe people kind of traversed around not by horse or on foot, but by like boat or canoe, like kind of how Vietnam and how Venice travel a lot by canoe or boat and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what if the flooding out here in like the rural areas is caused by all like these dams and levees and waterways being made in the main city, and so a bunch of the water from the main city kind of gets pushed out into the rural areas.
Oh, so like the main city is the one kind of controlling agricultural patterns.
Mm, less like controlling it, more through their building of the city, they've kind of disrupted how like a swamp works. And
Oh,
so they've just displaced a lot of what was it, wherever the city was, they've displaced a lot of what's there, and it kind of goes into other areas.
oh, sort of like how like a river can be reversed through human constructions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. And which would be sort of like there was a culture here, it didn't have to deal with this much flooding. Now they had to adapt quite a bit more, and they have to deal with a lot of flooding,
Yeah.
which could even be a good hook for a potential like future adventure where it's the characters trying to undo the excessive flooding and restore the region.
Mhm.
Let's see. I also think it would be an interesting detail for the Bard Dragon. This is just me spitballing. I was trying
Mhm.
to think of like why would an octopus prefer a watery region over just solid ground, and I was like, oh, maybe they have this thing where they want even the ground itself to be inconsistent. Like if they had to look at the same landscape every single day, it would start to bore them. But when they look at water, it can always keep changing. Just a
Yeah.
possibility for things they might banter about. But now I'm
Probably
getting way
very
too
fickle
specific.
dragon.
Yeah. Can you imagine? That sounds like the. That's sort of like the town I live in. I don't want to dox myself, but the mayor does some goofy stuff sometimes. Can you imagine being in a region where the person who's basically in charge of it is like, ah, yeah, I just like how the water looks. It's so boring to see dry land all the time. And meanwhile, you're talking to him about this political problem, and he's just a fucking giant octopus. It's like, yeah, you don't say you enjoy all the water and land is boring. I'm shocked.
I'm so so for the dragon, I told you what I wanted to like name them, right?
Yes, I'm looking at the name, and I'll let you introduce that concept.
Yee. So I remember that last time we talked, we came up with this naming system for like what are they called? The Warden Dragons? Is that what Pointy
Yeah.
Head called them?
Yes.
Yee. We came up with this like naming system, because we went with Aldestrel and Alderic, where Al is like maybe the word great in Draconic or something like that. It was either great or magnificent, some very good descriptor,
Yeah,
and then like
grand.
the rest of their names. Uh, I wanted to name this bard dragon Aldemir, Al apostrophe Ymir, because Ymir is like one of the first characters in Norse mythology's Edda, which is like one of the big poems. So naming them after a really important, powerful character in a poem for a bard dragon, that's kind of cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I wanted to introduce that because I don't want to keep calling them the dragon. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, so the idea that I had also for Elamir was like, yeah, they technically control the city, but they really don't like doing political dumb shit. So like how Alderic is like the leader of the city and they do speeches and people love them and shit like that. Alamir's like, yeah, I know I kinda control this, but I'm gonna let someone else do all the politics while I do all the fun stuff like building statues and bringing in entertainment and doing plays and shit like that.
Yeah. Literally just the I don't want to do taxes character.
Exactly. I don't care who Alderic sends, I'm not paying taxes.
Unironically, I want to have him say that in the campaign if he appears.
Oh man, what also might be really cool is turning this dragon into an almost Loki-like character where they can shift forms and hell, maybe even genders and just be able to be like, yeah, I'm really bored. I'm gonna be a cat today. But you're a squid. How are you gonna do this? I'm a cat today. Treat
Yeah.
me like a cat.
That could even lead into something. That could lead into two things. One, a plot hook for an adventure, and two, it could greatly affect the culture based on how aware everybody is of that and what kind of
Mm-hmm.
like personality Alimir has. Alamir,
Mm-hmm.
Al-Yamir, should I say Alamir?
I just go with Al Emir because
Gotcha.
I've always pronounced Emir like Emir. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the Nordic people might try to stab me for it, but that's how I've always pronounced Emir's names. I don't know,
Word.
softer why, I guess.
I'm gonna just do whatever my brain feels like when it comes up. So I might flip flop whenever I feel like it. So the
Ah,
thing,
like anytime you see Ari in League of Legends.
yes, or any League of Legends character. So it could be that if he has a, they're all very sociable dragons, but depending on how cruel he is or punishing he is, if
Mm-hmm.
people fully understand their like mayor has a proclivity for like disguising himself as a cat and just chilling out places, or like becoming some random new looking person and hanging out places where people talk. They might become nervous about talking about him or talking about things that might make them look bad or make him angry.
Mm.
Ooh, had a burp there. So that could be something that if he's very cruel, the city ends up being very paranoid of his presence. Or if he's
Mm-hmm.
very loving and kind of a jokester or doesn't really involve himself too much in any sort of punishment, then people could just be like, oh, can he please just do his job? He's such a goof.
Hear me out, passive aggressive diva.
I love
It's like
it.
anytime you try to talk to like any of the theater kids at your high school, and it's like, yeah, I mean, your audition was okay. Okay. Oh my god, I spent like 6 hours practicing that. Oh my god.
Oh, the theater kids. Yeah.
Alamir's just one giant theater kid.
And it could also be a plot hook in that I don't know, just a spitball. The players could be running from somebody, trying to shake something, and I don't want to say some random stranger. That's too easy. Just a cat leads them to safety in some shenanigans way, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Dang, this is an oddly smart and very helpful cat. What's up with this?" And it just talks back to them in perfect common, and is just like, "Yeah, that's I'm the mayor."
What's up?
Let me close my window. There's a motorcycle outside. It's gonna get warm in here now. But he could just
Edge.
he could start being like, "Yeah, I'm just the mayor here." And they're like, "Talking cat, interesting." Like he could just gaslight them and just tell the truth the whole time, but like be like, "Yeah, I'm the mayor, like I run this place, people really respect me." And the whole time the party might just be thinking like, "This is a funny talking cat." And then he actually for real is the mayor dragon of the city.
Surprise.
I find that that could be a real goofy way to introduce this guy if he's a real goofy dragon.
Goofball. A little funny haha. Sometimes our mayor has tits. But dragons don't have boobs, even if they're female dragon. We don't question it anymore.
They do as they please.
They do as they please, and sometimes they got booby.
Yep. Let me think. I feel like just looking at like the environment, what this could be. This is the one that makes me excited to think about like what would like the ecosystem here look like, and what would life look like for a person living here. This is the one I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
really excited to do more in depth building for, because I feel like there's a lot of potential with this region, especially with this dragon. But one little bit I want to add on now is since we got three dragons now, I I kind of want all the dragons to generally be on good terms with each other, since they're already very sociable and all politicians for big
Mm-hmm.
regions. Uh, the gods that are going to appear in the various sorcerer families, different story entirely. That'll be where most of the
Right.
tension comes from. But I kind of want to uh, Alderic and Aldestrel to be like a
Mm.
little bit tense. Like I'm kind of leaning on the idea of I want Aldestrel to be the son or the descendant of Alderic, and he was supposed to be the next mayor, but he was also like, but you're still kind of in your stride. I'm gonna go start an academy and do my own thing. And there's like a little bit of tension, but just kind of like you did something your parents didn't really want, but they still care about you. However, between Alumir and Aldestrel, I kind of want there to just be like a funny relationship. Like, I don't know, Alumir being the artistic type. It's like the theater kid having a crush on like the nerd or something.
Oh my god. Fuck it. It's what's the word here? Like give me a second. I have a thought in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the two oldest children that like have all the expectations, and then there's that youngest child that just kind of gets away with everything. It's like, hey, we're actually running this whole. I've got a university. Oh well, I'm running a city. I'm an artist. Haha.
I'm that youngest child, by the way, so I like this
So
idea.
am I. I mean, technically, I'm the only child, but that means I'm the youngest.
True. What
I mean,
else?
technically, if you count my sister, who's like not biologically my sister, I'm the youngest. So
Word.
I just stand up for that because I got too excited.
Let's see. Oh yeah, like I can imagine there's this scene in. This is way too specific for the task we're on right now, so after this, I should get back to
We'll get
building the
back to
city
it, but
more.
for now, I want to hear this.
There's this one scene in the Hellsinger Bridge series, which is low key kind of goaded. Earlier episodes didn't age so well. if you know, you know. Later episodes, incredibly funny. And there's this one scene where the Pope is describing the fact that, or somebody in like the Catholic Church, a higher up, is describing the fact that Alucard keeps sending them like daily mail describing how he's going to kill the Pope or something like that. And it just it then goes into like this head voice like narration of Alucard being like, I'm going to baste you like a turkey with fear, if that's why you're wondering how often I'm sending these letters. And it's like, what?
Oh my god.
So I can imagine that he'd send a lot of letters and or just like magic messages just to be like, just checking in on my favorite owl. How have you been? My what would be a goofy nickname? A dragon would give another dragon. Uh,
Scaly butt? I don't know.
uh,
Scales for brains.
I was
Gold
gonna
for brains.
I was gonna say featherface, but that almost sounds like a derogatory
Feather.
thing.
Ah, but that's funny though, because he's got feathers.
Yeah,
Aww.
he
But
might.
I don't want to sound derogatory, but goddamn, it works.
Or maybe feather heart, like sweetheart feather. I don't know. We'll workshop that one later. But I can imagine this. I
Just
think that
make
would
random
be a.
noises and say it's draconic.
I want to keep that idea in our back pocket, as there's one dragon that's just like a little too goofy with how they like flirt and show affection to this other dragon they know.
Definitely Elamir would do that. They would so do that. Can I please?
Oh,
Please.
I'm currently watching the Google Doc we're in wrestle for control against Briar. it's,
Really trying to fight me? I'm
it's
having problems. Somebody send help.
the image of the dragon is out of here. It's doing the lore accurate behavior.
Stop
Oh, I should mention there's a few instances of me pressing Control Enter, which sends something to a new page. So like the top of
Okay.
this image here.
Fighting for control here. Get fucking Christ here. There.
Oh my god! It's
Fuck.
like
Why does it keep going there? Just stop. Stop. Okay. Stop. Okay. Cope see the mold. That's where it's staying.
let's lock these on their position. So
Can you do that?
yeah, so if you go to, it's easy in Microsoft Word because you literally just right click and say lock at, or not lock aspect ratio, lock position on page. It's under text wrapping in Microsoft Word, but here it's under where's it go?
I found it. I'm good. I'm
Nice.
a god.
Yeah, the
No,
folks,
wait, shit.
we don't have the visuals to show what just happened. Oh my god. But just imagine your least pleasant experience with Microsoft Word and moving images on it, and multiply that by like 3 times. Because that's what I just watched in this doc. Whew.
Gonna fucking lose it.
There's so many blank enters right here. Oh, I just moved something. Just
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Oh. Okay, that feels good. Okay. Alright. I'm good. I'm
Nice.
good. I fixed it.
nice.
The shit is all nice and motherfucker.
Immediately
I
undoes
just
it.
want things to be orderly. I just want it to look nice.
Oh my god.
Okay, alright. I'm good. I'm good. I'm okay.
Whew.
Fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
I might clip that and turn it into a short. That was just the audio of us doing that. Oh, but I have no visuals. Never mind. I don't know. I might think of something.
Still
But
funny though.
anyway, so where were we? Okay, we got this.
Do not
setting
remember.
Where let's work on those buildings in this image, because
Okay.
if this is a
Which
place,
image?
the
Rural or city?
the flooded area, that's like the
Okay.
larger area, not the close-in city right above the dragon. So for this
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
I think the buildings themselves should not just be stone. when I thought about the idea of these look to be abnormal in the region they're in, like how they have built these in the water, and it made me think about the Roman concrete, which fixes itself by being incorrectly mixed. So when rainwater seeps in and cracks it, it reignites the chemical reaction and it repairs itself essentially. So I thought to myself,
Wait, what?
yeah, did you know this about Roman concrete?
Okay, Roman concrete. I gotta look this up.
So
Roman concrete.
the
Is
spark,
that why it's like still around?
yeah, the spark notes for why Roman concrete has lasted so long. We knew for a long time they used seawater in the recipe, but we didn't understand completely what was going on. So we figured out it's because they weren't correctly mixing things all the way, which is the reason why it lasts so long. So when they mix it, there's little pockets of limestone, salt water, like there's limestone in like the raw ingredients are like left in pockets mixed inside of the final product. So when water seeps in, freezes, or starts to like corrode it, those little pockets contact each other and then reignite the process of creating the concrete, and then
Yeah.
that fills in the gap, and thus it repairs itself.
Yeah, I looked it up on Wikipedia, which ignore your teachers, it's a great source. Uh this produces reactive calcium, which allows new calcium carbonate crystals to form and reseal the cracks. Why don't we use this now?
Good
Is there
question.
like a downside?
We only recently figured it out, like a few years ago. We figured it out, and it's possible that the overall structural integrity of it isn't as good. So you need to make it super thick, like the Roman pillars, to be able to make any structures. But people are saying, like, based on this design of like the self healing principle, it might be applicable to like construction in certain cases where like stones exposed to rain. But
So
we're still figuring it out.
I have been informed by the husband that what was it called? Compressor strength?
Compressive strength.
Compressive strength. Apparently the concrete. You know what? He's here. I'll just let him tell it.
Oh boy,
The
guest
reason
appearance.
we don't build, also I can't hear you, so that's that. The reason we don't build with like ancient ass concrete is it's wildly expensive. There's no reason to build a house that lasts several hundred years, and also you have it's basically just like a little bit better sandstone that shit cracks a bunch, and if you like have if you build like this, you will have to build like maybe 2 meter thick walls.
Thank you, guest
Yeah,
appearance from husband.
very nice.
Oh, thanks.
I will make my bread and then I will plug in my car to charge and then I will see.
Okay, love you.
Oh.
Okay, so now we know why we don't use that. I like the idea for using it for this city, though.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about that, I was thinking like, oh, like stone that self heals itself. Maybe the stone that builds the base at least is unique in some way that it's very good at surviving the water conditions around it. So some sort of unusual slash alive stone that forms the base of these structures. Maybe the
Mm-hmm.
rest of it as well. Uh, that's just one concept for, maybe these are uh, maybe these stones are like living structures, like I don't know, a type of turtle or something like that, and they just don't
You really
realize.
like the whole turtle thing, don't you?
Yeah, I do like turtles. And so one potential plot hook is that all of these major buildings are just built on the back of like a hibernating turtle or something, and they just don't realize it. But I do enjoy the concept of these larger structures are built out of a unique type of stone that's just very good in the water. And it's not just like they built some buildings that are real big. Like they found
Yeah.
this special rock from the region that they're building on top of.
You could also kind of tie Aldestral into the city. It'd be like, hey, maybe one of his little guys or one of like his predecessor's little guys decided that, hey, I'm gonna invent this really cool concrete that can like be in water for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah, like maybe another one of the owl dragons before him was the one who built this city, and then
Yeah.
he because there wasn't another owl dragon for a while. Maybe he ended up inheriting the city because it just wasn't being used. And
Yeah.
yeah, we can workshop how you came into ownership of it as well in the future. But I do like that concept of a previous dragon was like, I know a perfect way to build these structures in this climate in this like wetland region that'll make these things last a long time. And then when he either died or didn't pass on his city, it just ended up not really being understood what was going on. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually some other dragon just started living here.
Yeah, that could really work, especially if like maybe the city wasn't doing super hot, and it's just like, oh, there's all these really old buildings, and like what the hell are we gonna do? And then Ymir comes in and is like, hey, I need a city and I want to fill it with artists and theater people. I'll take it. It's free
Sold.
real estate.
I'll take your entire stock.
I'll take your entire stock. It's like, I can live in the water, I can build a city. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm liking this. Let's see here. So, surrounding the city. Oh, the formatting is scaring me. I don't know where to place stuff now. Uh,
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out.
yeah.
There's this thing on the side of Google Docs that you can pull out, and it has outline, and then you have all the little heading things. You got the title. You got a bunch of places. Where is it? What's the point? Country, city names. Who's in charge? What organizations? And then I'm putting little even other sections in there
Mm-hmm.
just to make it a bit easier.
Where is
Because
the?
I really enjoy formatting things.
Oh, this thing.
Hey, there it is. You found it. I'm proud of you. So what did it do? Heading
Ah,
2.
nice.
Heading 3.
And the name of the city is. Would you like to pronounce it?
Yeah, so the name of the city is it's I think it's Skene or Skene. It's an old Greek term, and it's the first Greek term, and it eventually becomes the word scene.
Oh, like a scene in a play.
I'm Yee. I mean, technically, it's like a scene, like a backdrop, is what like the word was used for, but it becomes scene anyway. So that's just me being stinky over semantics.
Nice. I think I like the sound of the name Sene.
Did I?
Okay.
Okay, we'll keep it as Sene then.
So now I know what all the movements and clicking around was because Briar's actually been taking notes when I should have been. So
I've
this.
been formatting mostly, but it's in Sene I've been writing and shit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let's see
But
here.
where? Huh?
Huh? What's
Why is this here?
what?
What does this do? Make that smaller. No, go away. Okay.
Oh my god.
My formatting, my precious formatting.
Well, let me see here. Can I lock this one in place? Uh, image
No, you
options.
can't, because you'll probably end up doing more notes on Pleodorus, which will then push it down.
No, so when you lock it in place, it fixes its position to the to where it is in the document, so the text has to move instead of the image.
I don't like this. This is why I use PowerPoint.
Also, right before this recording, everybody, Briar was teaching me like the OBS 101,
OBS.
and now I'm like seeing them struggle with like locking an image in Word
I don't
documents.
like doc formatting, okay?
Understandable, nobody should.
I don't like it. Sneeze. Okay, back to Sine. It's really close to Sinead.
Yeah,
Should we make the K in it hard and just call it Skinny?
Skene.
So it's that way it's not that close to Sinead.
True.
I don't know. I just wait. How many people are in this next campaign that were in the other one? Uh, two of us were in Rise of Vestia. I don't know. It might work. It might. We'll see. We'll see if it works.
You could also drop the S and just have Kene.
But I like the cool tie to Roman.
True.
Sneef. I'm gonna look up some. I'm gonna look up some other old theater terms. Ancient theater vocabulary. Ooh, hang on. I might have actually found a different word. Ooh, okay, okay. Hear me out. So there's this word from ancient Greek theater. It refers to what we now call the wings of a theater.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically where actors come onto the stage. They called it Parados. Parados.
Hmm.
And it could also there's that whole tie to theater, but there's also like, hey, Ymir's probably a bit of a diva and would really like to, kind of lean in. It's like, hey, my place is paradise. Parados. Either way, it's great.
Yeah, I like it. All right, this
Alright.
this
Instead of
place.
Skinne, it is now Parados. World building!
Nice. Let's see here. Now we have the regions, the buildings, have a special stone they're built on top of. I don't want to get into like crops and agriculture just yet because that's starting to get into the weeds of like all the little details of the city.
Oh my god, that will bore me to tears. Please no.
I know, don't worry. That's why I'm not doing it.
Ugh.
Let's see. What's a problem this place could have? Is probably a good direction to go now.
Probably, I'd say a town like this probably a similar issue to really thriving artist scenes like Seattle or New York, sometimes even Berlin, is that, certain parts of the city are like really nice and super artistic and they're super focused, and then like other parts of the city just get neglected because they're not a part of that like artistic scene.
Mm-hmm.
But also a lot of art gets born out of like lower income areas. Like a lot of Seattle has a lot of like underground art scene. Well, I mean that could also work.
Yeah.
And it's an artist city. Yeah, maybe that's just like it's one of those cities that's just like, oh yeah, certain parts are really really nice because they're super artistic and Emir's like super proud of them, and then other parts of the city just get neglected, especially maybe like government buildings aren't as nice as they could be because Alamir's so focused on a nice theater across town.
Yeah. I guess an important point of this city is just like the government here could be a bit too weak. Like there's not enough support programs for society here that should probably be in place of like, hey, what if there's like, a bad harvest one year? Do we have like protections in place to make sure we still get enough crops? Or like do we have enough savings to make sure we feed our population? And there's just not really enough precautions being taken in the city. I can see that being a big problem.
Yeah, so like the social programs aren't good. Um, Maybe even there's like very little military power. So you have like maybe a crime issue, well, not military, but like, they don't maybe pay a bunch of guards and there's maybe only a couple of them. So you have in certain areas the crime rate is probably bad.
Yeah, I can see the citizens here needing to be kind of like jacks of all trade in every kind of way. Like they need to know how to fight because
Hmm.
like they'll have to be able to defend themselves and do everything themselves, feed themselves, farm for
Yeah.
themselves, all kinds of things. Just because
Yeah.
like the government's just not gonna do it for them, so they have to do everything themselves.
So again, kind of like New York. uh,
nice. And that could lead to possibly an easy point of invasion if this is a place that has something particularly valuable or has people visiting. Being here would probably be a bad place if you wanted to be, safe and know that there's enough guards to keep you protected. But that's,
Mm-hmm.
well, I can also imagine that, like, what government there is would probably just keep a good number of guards in, like, the main buildings, and that's all they really care about.
Yeah. The ones that are like world renowned, people come to see that. Like, okay, going back to the idea of having like a really nice theater, they'd probably put guards in the area where that theater is because it's super nice and everybody knows about it. But say like the other end of town, while they may have a theater, it's not as nice as the other one, so they're like, okay, well that one probably won't get hit. Let's put them over here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can imagine that this place would probably rely heavily on exporting, like whatever crops they
Mm-hmm.
grow in the water rich area, as well as like whatever stuff they create being wanted by other governments or other
Mm-hmm.
town or cities. So they'd probably have a lot of foreigners coming in, leaving all kinds of trade. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can imagine there would probably be one region or at least one building, maybe a few buildings, where it's just kind of a trade hub and like the portal to the outside cities. Portal in this sense just meaning like entryway,
Yeah.
not literal magic
Yeah, the
portal.
entryway, not yeah. That would definitely work, is having like there's I have a point, I swear. There's this point in San Antonio, Texas. There's like this really, really big building called El Mercado, and it's basically this huge building full of shops, usually run by like Mexican Americans or even immigrants that come from Mexico, and it's really cool. And they sell a bunch of things like furniture, food, clothes, toys, handmade things. Like they sell so much, and it's huge. It'll take you hours to walk around this place. So you could have something like that where like trade people come in, have a little like trade hub or stand or something. They sell their shit and then they leave and come back or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can. This I can't imagine this would be too big of a woodworking place just because it's like
Oh God, no.
swampy. Well, I guess in the south they did have a lot of like those. They did a lot of logging for those trees that have like the knees sticking up out of the water. And those almost got like
Yeah,
extinct. But I can't imagine this being a big like woodworking, carpentry, furniture kind of region. But I can absolutely
yeah,
imagine it being like just various types of art, sculpture stuff. I can
yeah.
I can see this place making a lot of silverware, maybe.
Ooh, yeah.
What else? Is there any other details I want to add to this city before we call it a wrap? Maybe we haven't really touched on this image of what looks to be like the main hub of the city. This should probably be placed either. Should this be dead center of the marshland, or should this be at the edge? I think it should be at the edge, where because that's where
Yeah,
all the trade's going to be occurring. This should probably be the trade area.
yeah, exactly.
So this could be the trade area. We can delve into whether or not there's fish floating around the air later on. But
Could always be magic fish.
yeah,
Whoa, why the hell are there fish in the air? I don't know, man. The mayor thinks it's pretty.
he really likes them. And is there anything unique about this main city? If you just heard my voice get far away, it's because I leaned back in my chair. Is there anything else about this main city we want to differentiate? Like, I don't know, there's a big old magic barrier or something. Uh, differentiate from, like, the rest of the city.
Maybe not. Maybe the city could be kind of young, because if Alamir came in and like did this, maybe the city's still kind of growing.
True, and that could explain
Like,
the
yeah,
different,
they
the
could be
different.
super young.
That could explain the different architecture being more geared towards the cylindrical shapes and pillars to withstand like
Mm-hmm.
waters and flooding, whereas the old structures were just built atop a material that was good enough that could just survive the aquatic conditions.
Yeah.
These are designed specifically to not chemically survive it, but structurally survive it. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea that's a young city still being like built as we speak, whereas or like this portion of the city is young and still being built.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with like Pleiodorus, pretty darn old and established city where it's built atop that mountain, which was the center of a trade network. This is a newly
Mm-hmm.
formed trade network, which is more focused on the finer things. Oh, maybe there could. Looking at all these, I was like, could they make some type of wine? I was like, what type of wine could they make? Maybe fish wine?
Mm.
Oh, maybe caviar wine. Can you imagine how that would taste? Yeah,
Sorry.
devious. I
That
wanna
is devious.
I wanna think about all the devious types of like way overly snobby dishes these people might be making here.
Definitely like super fancy types of sushi.
Oh yeah,
Like sushi that shouldn't be as fancy as it is.
yeah,
Ooh, snails, frogs,
oh yeah. Eating
escargot.
all kinds of stuff,
Oh yeah.
and
'Cause I mean, culinary art is still an art.
yeah, and I think that should be good for the session. We've been going about an hour now, like 50 minutes, and
Nice.
now it's time for the all important world building step, which is if you've made it this far in the video, uh, you got to just like brew in your mind all these concepts and just think about what life would look like if you lived there and all the little details. This is the real world building. Is when you're like at work daydreaming about it and you're like, oh, that'd be a cool detail. I'm gonna put that into it. Time for that portion of this video. And with that, I think we're all good here. Have anything else, Briar?
No,
Word. All
not
right.
not anything I want to talk about where we'll do spoilers.
Yeah.
Teehee smiles.
Speaking of which, we're gonna be planning the next campaign that I'm running pretty soon, or the next Galamora campaign, I should say, since we're already running one that's just in a different universe. It's Yasha's whole thing. Go check it out. It's pretty cool if you haven't already. What are you doing on this channel? If you haven't checked that out and you're watching this instead, just go watch him. It's, it's
Watch
got
Yasha's thing. I'm in it. It's pretty cool.
it's got vampires, lots of them.
I like vampires.
Anyway, so hope you enjoyed this. We're gonna be starting the planning for my next campaign real soon, and we'll probably hammer out more of the details on this world off camera, and we'll just do more of the world building that's necessary, like the figuring out what type of wine they like, that sort of stuff. The really finite details that you don't need my advice on. Anyway, that's all I got. Have a good one, everybody.
Wah wah.